In this module, we're going to talk about all things vegetable. The objectives of this module include identify a variety of vegetables, purchase vegetables appropriate for your needs, store vegetables properly, explain various ways of preserving vegetables, prepare vegetables prior to cooking and service, and apply various cooking methods to vegetables. The term vegetable refers to any edible herbaceous plant with little or no woody tissue. Vegetable is a culinary term. Its definition has no scientific value and is somewhat arbitrary and subjective. All parts of herbaceous plants eaten as food by humans, whole or in part, are generally considered vegetables. Mushrooms, though belonging to the botanical kingdom fungi, are commonly considered vegetables and are usually treated as such. Since vegetable is not a botanical term, there is no contradiction in referring to a plant part as a fruit, while also considering it as a vegetable. Given this general rule of thumb, vegetables can include leaves like lettuces, stems like asparagus, roots like carrots, flowers like broccoli, bulbs like garlic, and seeds like peas and beans, and of course, the botanical fruits like cucumbers, squash, pumpkins, and capsaicins. Vegetables contain water-soluble vitamins like vitamin B and C, fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin A and D, and contain carbohydrates and minerals. Freshly, properly prepared vegetables add flavor, color, and variety to a dish, and they play an important role in personal health. Vegetables are generally sorted into 9 groups, but we also have 2 extra thrown in there. Cabbages, fruit vegetables, gourds and squashes, greens, mushrooms and truffles, olives, which is one of our extra categories, onions, pods and seeds, roots and tubers, stalk vegetables, and baby vegetables, which is our second +2 group. The brassica or cabbage family includes a wide range of vegetables used for their heads, flowers, or leaves. They're part of a group of vegetables referred to as cruciferous, widely recognized for their health-promoting properties. Brassica are high in vitamins C and K, folate, potassium, and other minerals, as well as phytochemicals that constitute important components of a healthy diet. Brassicas also contain sulfur compounds that give these vegetables a strong aroma and a bitter flavor when overcooked. Bok choy is a popular vegetable used in Chinese cooking. A member of the cabbage family, bok choy is crisp in texture and light in flavor. Its white stalks and dark green leaves are packed with vitamin A and C and calcium. Used in China for hundreds of years, bok choy can now be found in most U.S. supermarkets. It can be boiled, sautéed, or eaten raw. Bok choy pairs well with other flavors like soy sauce, toasted sesame oil, and hot peppers. Baby bok choy is smaller and more tender than regular bok choy. Bok choy is also called pak chow, bok choy, and bok choy. The word broccoli comes from the Italian plural of broccolo, which means the flowering crest of a cabbage, and is the diminutive form of broccolo, meaning small nail or sprout. Broccoli has thick central stalk and grayish-green leaves topped with heads of green florets. Broccoli is eaten raw or steamed, microwaved, or sautéed and served warm or cold. Broccoli stalks are extremely firm and benefit from blanching. Stems are often slow cooked for soups. Generally, broccoli leaves are not eaten. Choose broccoli with firm stalks and compact clusters of tightly closed dark green florets. Avoid stalks with yellow florets. Broccoli rabe, also known as rab or rapini, is a leafy green with small florets that look similar to broccoli florets. The entire plant is eaten, although some prefer to separate the spiky leaves and green florets from the more bitter stems. Broccoli rabe may be boiled, steamed, roasted, or sauteed, and its peppery, bitter flavor is a popular ingredient in both Chinese and Mediterranean, especially Italian cuisines. Broccolini, or baby broccoli as it's sometimes referred to, is a green vegetable similar to broccoli but with small florets and longer, thin stalks. It can easily be mistaken with broccoli rabe, however, this is more sweet than broccoli rabe because broccoli rabe is very bitter. This is a hybrid of broccoli and guilan, which is sometimes referred to as Chinese kale or Chinese broccoli. The name broccolini is actually a registered trademark of the Mann Packing Company. It also goes by the name aspiration, sweet baby broccoli, broccoletti, or broccoletti, and Italian sprouting broccoli. Brussels sprouts consist of numerous small heads arranged in neat rows along a thick stalk. The tender young sprouts look like baby cabbages and are usually steamed or roasted. Brussels sprouts have a strong nutty flavor that blend well with game, ham, duck, or rich meats. Cauliflower, like broccoli, grows on thick stalks. Each stalk produces one flower called a head, surrounded by large green leaves. The head, composing of creamy white florets, also golden, purple, and green, can be cooked whole or cut into separate florets for roasting, steaming, blanching, or stir-frying.
Hello everyone, I am your produce guy. Today I'm going to show you how to cut up a cauliflower. You've been to the store and you bought your nice fresh cauliflower and it looks beautiful. Now if you don't know how to pick them out at the store, click right here and we'll send you to our When Is It Ripe video so that you can select your own cauliflower. But you're at the stage now where you've got it home. You need to break it down to use it in a recipe or put it together however you're planning to do it. But what do? Do you just slice down through it? No, you attack this from the back. You turn this over and you grab a knife. Now some of you may want to use a cutting board for this, but I just like to go right on through and tear off as much of that greenery as I can. Then I'll work my way around just like that through there. Careful not to cut into the florets themselves. Get all that greenery away. There you are. Now, you reach in with your knife very carefully and you just cut off one of those florets, just like that. And you just continue the way around right there. Look at that. There, in the time it's taken you to watch this video, we've been able to break down a nice bowl of cauliflower florets. Now, these are ready for you to slice into smaller pieces if that's what your recipe's calling for, or you can leave them big like this and put them in the steaming basket and get them steamed up and ready to eat. So, don't be afraid of the cauliflower. It's great. It's good for you and it's delicious.
Cabbage, or head cabbage, has been a staple of North European cuisine for centuries. The familiar green cabbage has a large, firm, round head with tightly packed pale green leaves. Flat and cone-shaped heads are also available. Red or purple cabbage is a different strain and may be tougher than green cabbage. Cabbage can be eaten raw as in coleslaw or used in soups or stews. It can be braised, steamed, or stir-fried. The large waxy leaves can also be steamed until soft, then wrapped around a filling of seasoned meat. Kale has large, ruffled, curly, or bumpy leaves. Its rather bitter flavor goes well with beans and rich meats such as game, pork, or ham. Kale is typically boiled, stuffed, or used in soups. Tender baby kale is suitable for eating raw, is also popular with steaks and salads. Kale is a power pack of nutrients. 1 cup of kale provides 1,300% of the recommended daily allowance of vitamin K, which is important for healthy blood coagulation and maintaining bone mass. Although it looks rather like a round root, kohlrabi is actually a bulbous stem vegetable created by crossbreeding cabbages and turnips. Both the leaves, which are attached directly to the bulbous stem, and the roots are generally removed before sale. Depending on the variety, kohlrabi skin can be light green, purple, or green with a hint of red. The interior flesh is white with a sweet flavor similar to that of turnips. Napa cabbage, also known as Chinese cabbage, is widely used in Asian cuisines. It has a stout, elongated head with relatively tight-packed, firm, pale green leaves. It's a moisture and more tender version of common green or red cabbage, with a milder, more delicate flavor. Savoy cabbage is named for the Savoy region in France. It has crinkled emerald green leaves, which are crunchy and tender, and can be used similarly to Napa cabbage. What is meant by the term fruit vegetable? Fruit vegetables are those items that are botanically fruits, but have savory culinary applications, such as avocados, bell peppers, eggplants, tomatillos, and tomatoes. Avocados include several varieties of pear-shaped fruits with rich, high-fat flesh. This light golden green flesh surrounds a large inedible oval-shaped seed or pit. Some avocado varieties have smooth green skin, others have pebbly, almost black skin. Avocados should be used at the peak of freshness and ripeness, a condition that only lasts briefly. Firm avocados lack the desired flavor and creamy texture. Ripe avocados are soft to the touch but not mushy. Firm avocados can be left at room temperature to ripen and refrigerated for 1 to 2 days until they are ripe. Because avocado flesh turns brown very quickly, once cut, dip avocado halves or slices in lemon juice and keep unused portions tightly covered with plastic wrap. Another little trick that we use is if you're making guacamole and you smash up the avocados, put a little bit of oil on top of the avocados, then seal it with plastic wrap. The oil will prevent air from getting in and prevent the browning from happening. Two types of eggplants are commonly available, Asian and Western. Asian varieties, such as the Japanese eggplant and the tiny round Indian or Thai eggplant, are either small spheres or long and thin, with skin colors ranging from creamy white to deep purple. Western eggplants, known as Italian eggplants, tend to be shaped like a plump pear with shiny lavender to purple-black skin. Both types have a dense, khaki-colored flesh with a rather bland flavor that absorbs other flavors well during cooking. Eggplants can be grilled, baked, steamed, fried, or sautéed. They're commonly used in Mediterranean, Thai, and Indian cuisines, especially in vegetarian dishes, as a substitute for meat. The skin may be left intact or removed before or after cooking, as desired. Sliced eggplants may be salted and left to drain for 30 minutes to remove moisture and bitterness before cooking. They will also absorb less oil when fried if this procedure is done. Choose plump, heavy eggplants with smooth, shiny skin that is not blemished or wrinkled. Asian varieties tend to be softer than Western varieties. Peppers are a member of the Capsaicum family, and you can easily devote an entire lecture just on this topic. From fresh peppers, you get dried chilies, and there are corresponding dried chilies for every fresh pepper. Members of the Capsaicum family are native to the New World. When discovered by Christopher Columbus, he called them peppers because of their sometimes fiery flavor. These peppers, which include sweet peppers and hot peppers, or chilies, are unrelated to peppercorns, the Asian spice for which Columbus was searching. Interestingly, New World peppers have readily been accepted in Indian and Asian cuisines, in which they are now considered staple items. In the late 1700s, a large percentage of Europeans feared the tomato. A nickname for the fruit was the poison apple, because it was thought that aristocrats got sick and died after eating them. But the truth was a matter that the wealthy Europeans used pewter plates, which were high in lead content. Because tomatoes are also high in acid, when placed in this particular tableware, the fruit would leach lead from the plate, resulting in many deaths from lead poisoning. No one made this connection between the plate and the poison at the time, and the tomato was picked as the culprit. Around 1800s and late 1800s, with the invention of the pizza in Naples, the tomato grew widespread in popularity in Europe, but in the newly burgeoning Americas there was still a little more to the story. Tomatoes are available in a wide variety of colors and shapes. They vary from green, unripe green, to golden yellow, to ruby red, from tiny spheres, like currant tomatoes, to huge squat ovals called beefsteaks. Some, such as the plum tomato, have a lot of meaty flesh with only a few seeds. Others, such as slicing tomatoes, have lots of seeds and juice, but only a few meaty membranes. Heirloom varieties such as Brandywine, German Green, and Golden Queen are irregularly shaped and may be prone to cracking. All tomatoes have a similar flavor, but the levels of sweetness and acidity vary depending on the species, growing conditions, and ripeness at harvest. Ripe tomatoes are a natural source of glutamate and add umami flavor to foods. Because tomatoes are highly perishable, they are usually harvested when mature but still green, then shipped to wholesalers who ripen them in temperature and humidity controlled rooms. The effect on the flavor and texture is unfortunate. Tomatoes should be stored at room temperature to preserve their flavor and texture. While not actually tomatoes, they're part of the gooseberry family. Tomatillos are also known as Mexican or husk tomatoes. Grow in small, weedy bushes. These bright green, about the size of a small tomato and covered with thin, papery husk. Tomatillos have a tart, lemony flavor and crisp, moist flesh. Although they are an important ingredient in southwestern and northern Mexican cuisines, tomatillos may not readily be available in other areas. Tomatillos can be used raw in salads, pureed for salsas, or cooked for soups, stews, or vegetable dishes. When choosing tomatillos, you look for husks that are split but still look fresh. The skin should be plump, shiny, and slightly sticky. Cucumbers can be divided into two categories, pickling and slicing. The two types are not interchangeable. Cucumbers are valued for their refreshing cool taste and astringency. Slicing cucumbers are usually served raw in salads or mixed with yogurt and dill or mint as a side dish, especially for spicy dishes. Pickling cucumbers are generally served pickled with no further processing. Pickling cucumbers include the cornichon, Kirby, and gherkin. They are recognizable by their shape and their sharp black or white spines, and are quite bitter when raw. Slicing cucumbers include the burpless, the seedless English or hothouse cucumber, the seedless Persian cucumber, which is small and smooth skinned, the lemon cucumber, which is round and yellow, and the common green market cucumber. Most cucumber varieties have relatively thin skins and may be marketed with wax coating to prevent moisture loss and improve appearance. Wax skin should be peeled unless the cucumber will be pickled. Those cucumbers that are firm but not hard, avoid those that are limp or yellowed or have spots. Summer squashes include patty pans, yellow crooknecks, and zucchini varieties. They are soft with edible skins and seeds that are generally not removed before cooking. Most summer squashes may be eaten raw, but are also suitable for grilling, sautéing, steaming, or baking. Chayote is a type of summer squash. It's typically considered a fruit much like a tomato, but it probably isn't something you want to bite into like an apple. It grows on a vine and originated in Mexico, but is now grown in warm climates worldwide. Chayote squash looks like it has a crunchy texture and of the unripe pear, yet it has a mild, almost cucumber-like flavor, less sweet than spaghetti squash. In New Orleans, it's also referred to as a mirliton. Winter squashes include acorn, butternut, Hubbard, pumpkin, and spaghetti varieties. They have hard skins or shells and seeds, neither of which are generally eaten, although it's common to see pumpkin seeds roasted and eaten out of hand. The flesh, which may be removed from the shell before or after cooking, tends to be sweeter and more strongly flavored than that of summer squashes. Winter squashes are rarely eaten raw. They can be baked, steamed, or sauteed. Most winter squashes can also be pureed for soups or pie fillings. The term greens refers to a variety of leafy green vegetables that may be served raw, but are usually cooked. Greens have long been used in the cuisines of India, Asia, and Mediterranean, and are an important part of regional cuisines in the southern United States. Most greens have strong, spicy flavors. Collard greens, often simply referred to as collards, are a type of wild cabbage with loose, leafy heads of bright green leaves. Collards have a sharp, tangy flavor and look like a cross between mustard greens and kale. Considered a staple ingredient in cooking of the American South, collards are typically slow simmered with ham hocks and bacon until very tender, then served with their cooking liquid called pot liquor. Mustard, a member of the cabbage family, was brought to America by early European immigrants. Mustard has large dark green leaves with frilly edges and is known for its assertive bitter flavor. Mustard greens can be served raw in salads or used as a garnish. They can also be cooked, often with white wine, vinegar, and herbs. Sorrel is a wild member of the buckwheat family. Its tartness and sour flavor are used in soups and sauces to accent other vegetables. It is particularly good with fatty fish or rich meats. Sorrel leaves naturally become the texture of a puree after only a few minutes of moist heat cooking. Choose sorrel leaves that are fully formed with no yellow blemishes. If you are going to use this in a hot heat application, be aware of the fact that they're going to break down, they're going to get darker in color and mushy. So oftentimes you'll see them added as a chiffonade, like an herb, at the end of a plate to give it a bright lemony flavor. Spinach is a versatile green that grows rapidly in cool climates. It has smooth, bright green leaves attached to thin stems. Spinach may be eaten raw in salads, cooked by almost any moist heat method, microwaved or sauteed. It can be used in stuffings, baked or cream dishes, soups or stews. Spinach grows in sandy soil and must be rinsed repeatedly in cold water to remove all traces of grit from the leaves. It bruises easily and should be handled gently during washing. Stems and large midribs should be removed. Choose bundles and bunches with crisp, tender, deep green leaves. Avoid any yellow leaves or those with blemishes. Chard, often referred to as Swiss chard, although Swiss is a reference that is inexplicable and unexplained, is a type of beet that does not produce a tuberous root. The wide, flat, dark green leaves are consumed. Golden, orange, and pink stem varieties are also available, as well as rainbow chard. Chard can be steamed, sauteed, or used in soups. Chard's tart, spinach-like flavor blends well with sweet ingredients such as fruit. Choose chard leaves that are crisp with some curliness. Ribs should be unblemished and uniform in color. The leaves of the turnip root have a pleasantly bitter flavor, similar to peppery mustard greens. The dark green turnip leaves are long, slender, and deeply indented. Turnip greens are best eaten steamed, sautéed, baked, or microwaved. Mushrooms have a stalk and umbrella-like top. Although not actually a vegetable, mushrooms are used and served in much the same manner as vegetables. Several types of cultivated mushrooms are available. They include the common white, shiitake, cremini, morel, gypsy, maitake, saffron milkcap, chanterelle, enoki, horn of plenty, paddy straw, wood blevet, the truffle, which we'll talk more about in a moment, and the porcini, which is the king of the mushrooms. Two principal varieties of European truffles are the Perigord, or black truffle, and the Piedmontese, or the white truffle. Fresh truffles are gathered in the fall and should be used promptly. Truffles, especially the white ones, have a strong aroma and flavor, requiring only a small amount to add to their special flavor to soups, sauces, pastas, or other items. Black truffles are often used as a garnish or as a flavor pâtés, terrines, or egg dishes. Because fresh truffles can cost hundreds of dollars per pound, most kitchens purchase truffles canned, dried, or processed. Avoid imitation truffles or truffle oil originating from Asia or Africa, as the flavor and aroma is inferior and is often chemically induced. True truffles are never inexpensive. Your supermarket or farmer's market often will have a good variety of olives. Juicy green, black, brown, or purple olives glistening in their own oil. Olives seasoned with chilies, lemons, and herbs. Olives pitted and left empty. Olives stuffed with red pimentos. Olives in brine or in wine marinade. Enough olives to make your senses reel. And like grape varieties for wine, there are more kinds of olives in the world than you'll ever know. Every region where olive is grown yields a particular variety, each with its own unique size, shape, and flavor. Black olives are those that were allowed to ripen before harvest. In other words, all olives start out as green and grow darker as they ripen. Different varieties will mature into blue, red, brown, purple, or black. The flavor of the same olive will change the longer it stays on the tree. How it's fermented and seasoned after harvest changes its flavor too. And there are infinite ways to treat an olive, subject only to the imagination and local resources of the producer. But buyer beware, all that olive is not gold. Canned black California olives are green olives that have been cured in a lye solution, then treated with oxygen and ferrous glutamate to mix the color black. Harmless but bland, olives treated with lye and lye cure quickly but have lost much of their original flavor. These are often referred to as pizza olives or sliced olives. The common or bulb onion may be white, yellow, such as the Bermuda or Spanish, or red, such as the purple onion. Medium-sized yellow and white onions are the most strongly flavored. Larger onions tend to be sweeter and milder. Onions are indispensable in mirepoix. They're also prepared as side dishes by deep frying, roasting, grilling, steaming, or boiling. Pearl onions are small, about a half an inch in diameter, with yellow or white skins. These small bulb onions have a mild flavor and can be grilled, boiled, roasted, or sautéed whole as a side dish, or used in soups or stews. Cipollini or Italian or of small onions are small and slightly flat, mild bulb onions variety that can be pickled, roasted, or stewed. Sweet onion varieties include Vidalia, Maui, Walla Walla, Texas 1015, or Oso Sweet. Sweet bulb onions have a high water content, more sugar, and less sulfuric compounds than other onions. They're best for eating raw, making them good choices for sandwiches salads, hamburgers, and the like. Cooking destroys much of their perceived sweetness and special flavor. All sweet onions have a very short shelf life and should not be stored more than a few weeks. Like onions, garlic is used in almost all world's cuisines. A head or bulb of garlic is composed of many small cloves. The entire head is encased in several thin layers of papery husk. Each clove is wrapped in thin husk or peel. Of the 300 or so types of garlic known, only 3 are commercially significant. The most common is pure white, which is sharp in flavor. A Mexican variety of pale pink and is more strongly flavored, and elephant garlic is apple-sized and particularly mild. Black garlic is not a variety, but the result of a detailed heating and aging process applied to common white garlic. Used in Northeast Asia for its purported health benefits, black garlic is chewy with a mild, sweet, molasses-like flavor. Leeks look like large, overgrown scallions with a flat white tip and wide green leaves. Their flavor is sweeter and stronger than scallions, but milder than common bulb onions. Leeks must be carefully washed to remove the sandy soil that gets between them. Leeks can be baked or grilled or as a side dish or used to season stocks, soups, or sauces. Choose leeks that are firm with stiff roots and stems. Avoid those with dry leaves, soft spots, or browning. Chives, scallions, and ramps are all 3 different varieties of green onions. Chives are thin and usually have a sweeter, more delicate flavor. Scallions are also known as green onions or bunch onions, and they are the immature green stalks of bulb onions. The leaves are bright green with either a long or slender and bulbous tuberous white base. Green onions are used in stir fries as a flavoring of other dishes. The green tops can also be sliced in small rings or on the diagonal and used as a garnish. Choose scallions with bright green tops and green-white bulbs. Avoid those with limpy or slimy leaves. In the South, it's inevitable that if you walk outside in the springtime, you're going to smell onions in the air. This is actually ramps, which have a shorter white base and a long green leaf that comes up out of it. And these are grown wild and can usually be harvested wild, but are occasionally found cultivated as well. Shallots or shallots are shaped like small bulb onion with one flat side. When peeled, a shallot separates into multiple cloves, similar to a garlic. Shallots have a mild yet rich and complex nutty flavor. Shallots are the basis of many classic sauces and meat preparations. They can also be sautéed or baked as a side dish. Choose shallots that are plump, symmetrical, and heavy for their size. Avoid those that appear to have been dried or have sprouted. Store shallots in a cool, dry, unrefrigerated place, unless they are peeled, in which case they should be refrigerated. Historically, corn has had as many varieties as 90 or more. Today, we know of at least 40 varieties that are still in existence, one of which is the yellow sweet corn, known as maize. It's a grain or a type of grass that has been altered over time to produce what we see today. Corn kernels, like peas, are plant seeds. Corn kernels, which may be white or yellow, are attached to woody and edible cobs. The cob is encased in strands of hair-like fibers called silks and covered in layers of thin leaves called husks. Shuck the ears, removing the silk and the husk before cooking. The husks may be left on for roasting or grilling. Shucked corn on the cob can be grilled, boiled, microwaved, or steamed. The kernels can be cut off the cob before or after cooking in a process known as shoe peg. Corn on the cob is available fresh or frozen. Corn kernels are available canned or frozen. Choose freshly picked ears with firm, small kernels. Avoid those with mold or decay at the tip of the cob or brownish silks. Seek out the freshest corn on the cob and serve it promptly because its sugars turn to starch once it's picked. Beans with edible pods, commonly referred to as green beans, string beans, runner beans, or snap beans, are picked when immature. Except for the stem, the entire pod can be eaten. This category includes the American green bean, the yellow wax bean, the broad bean, and the French haricot vert, a long, slender pod with an intense flavor and tender texture. Any strings along the pod seam should be pulled off before cooking. Beans may be left whole, cut lengthwise, or cut into slivers referred to as French cut, or cut crosswise on the diagonal. Shelling beans are grown predominantly and primarily for the edible seeds inside the pod. Common examples are lima beans and fava beans. Their tough pods are usually not eaten. For thousands of years, cultures around the world have preserved certain legumes by drying. Common dried beans include kidney beans, pinto beans, chickpeas, lentils, black beans, black-eyed peas, and split green peas. Shape is the clearest distinction among these products. Beans are oval or kidney shaped. Lentils are small, flat discs. Peas are round. Beans and peas destined for drying are left on the vine until they are fully matured and just beginning to dry. They are then harvested, shelled, and quickly dried with warm air currents. Some dried legumes are sold split, which means the skin is removed, causing the seed to halves to separate. Of the shelling peas that are prepared fresh, the most common are green garden peas, known as English peas, and the French petit pois. Because they lose flavor rapidly after harvest, most shelling peas are sold frozen or canned. Shelling peas have a delicate, sweet flavor, best presented by simply steaming until tender but also still al dente. Peas may also be braised with rich meats such as ham or used in soups. Cooked peas are attractive in salads as a garnish. When choosing, choose small, fresh pea pods that are plump and moist. Green peas, such as soya beans, or soya in Japan, is also referred to as edamame, are a type of shelling pea picked before maturity. Fresh soybeans have a light green, fuzzy pod and a tender, sweet pea. They are steamed in the pod, then popped open and eaten out of hand as a snack, and are often served this way in sushi restaurants. When allowed to mature and then prepared like other dry beans, however, soybeans become extremely tough and hard to digest and bitter. Mature soybeans are best used in processing into oils, tofu, soy sauce, and other foodstuffs. Okra was brought to the United States from Africa by slaves and French settlers. Its original name was actually ngumbo, which is where we get gumbo from. It's now integral into Creole, Cajun, Southern, and Southwestern cuisines. Its mild flavor is similar to asparagus. Okra is not eaten raw. It's best pickled, boiled, steamed, or deep fried. Okra develops a gelatinous texture when cooked for long periods, so it's used to thicken gumbos and stews. To avoid the slimy texture that some people find objectionable, do not wash okra until you're ready to cook. Then trim the stem end only. Cook okra in stainless steel because other metals cause discoloration. Choose small to medium pods that are deep green without any soft spots. Pale spears with stiff tips tend to be a little tough. Frozen okra is widely available. Although history suggests that these were first eaten in ancient Greece, beets are associated with cold northern climates where they grow most of the year. Both the beetroot and the greens have leaves are eaten. Common beets have a deep reddish purple flesh and are cooked by boiling, steaming, or roasting, then peeled and used in soup, salads, or other things as side dishes. Pickling is a traditional preservation method is still used for beets today. Golden beets have orange, yellow, or variegated flesh and are prepared in the same manner. Beet leaves, called greens, are high in vitamin, potassium, and iron. Beet greens can be cooked by boiling, sauteing, or slow simmering. Choose medium-sized beets that are firm with smooth skins. Avoid beets with hairy root tips as they may be tough. Small and baby-sized beets are often used for garnish or as a snack in salads. Carrots, among the most versatile of vegetables, are large taproots. Although several kinds of carrots exist, the emperor is the most common. It is long and pointed with a medium to dark orange color and a mild sweet flavor. Carrots can be cut into a variety of shapes and eaten raw, used in mirepoix, or prepared by moist heat cooking methods, grilling, microwaving, or roasting. They're also grated raw and used in baked goods, particularly cakes and muffins. Choose carrots that are firm, that have a smooth and well shaped with bright orange color. If the tops are still attached, they should be fresh looking and bright and green. Carrots also come in a variety of other colors, including purple and golden. Parsnips are taproots that look and taste like a white carrot and have the texture of sweet potatoes. Parsnips should be 5 to 10 inches in length with smooth skins and tapering tips. Parsnips peeled like carrots can be eaten raw or cooked in almost any method. When steamed, they become very soft and they can be mashed like potatoes. Because of their higher moisture content, you may also have to add something else to it to help draw out some of the moisture, including some potatoes that have been cooked and allowed to dry out some. Choose small to medium-sized parsnips that are firm, smooth, and well-shaped. Avoid large, woody ones. Celery root, also known as celeriac, is a large, round root, long popular in Northern European cuisines. Although it may look like it, it's actually a different plant from the stalk celery that we're accustomed to, and its stalks and leaves are generally not eaten. Celery root has a knobby brown exterior, a creamy white crunchy flesh, and a mild celery-like flavor. Its thick outer skin must be peeled off. The flesh is then cut as desired. Often eaten raw, celery root can be baked, steamed, or boiled. It's used in soups, stews, or salads and goes well with game and rich meats. Place raw celery root in acidulated water to prevent browning. Choose small to medium-sized celery roots that are firm and relatively clean with a pungent smell. Despite their name, Jerusalem artichokes are actually tubers from a variety of sunflowers unrelated to artichokes. Consequently, growers are now marketing these vegetables as sunchokes. Their lumpy brown skin is usually peeled off, even though the skin is edible, to reveal a crisp white interior with a slightly nutty flavor. Although they may be eaten raw, cooking them before serving makes them easier to digest. Jerusalem artichokes are eaten chopped or grated into salads or boiled or steamed for a side dish or soup. Jicama is a legume that grows underground as a tuber. Jicama is popular because of its sweet, moist flavor, crisp texture, low calorie content, and long shelf life. After its thick brown skin is peeled off, the crisp, moist white flesh can be cut as desired. Jicama is often eaten raw in salads with salsa or as a crudité. It's also used in stir-fry dishes. Choose firm, well-shaped jicamas that are free of blemishes. Size is not an indication of quality or maturity. Radishes have a peppery flavor and crisp texture. Radishes are available in many colors, including white, black, and all shades of red. Most have a creamy to pure white interior. Asian radishes, known as daikons, produce roots 2 to 4 inches in diameter and 6 to 20 inches in length. Radishes can be braised, steamed, or stir-fried, but most often are eaten raw in salads or used as a garnish. Radish leaves can be used in salads or cooked as greens as well. Choose radishes that are firm, not limp. Their interior should not be dry or hollow. Rutabagas are a root vegetable and a member of the cabbage family. The skin is purple to yellow, and the flesh is yellow with a distinctive starchy cabbage-like flavor. Rutabagas and turnips are similar in texture and flavor when cooked and may be used interchangeably. Rutabaga leaves are not eaten. Rutabagas should be peeled with a vegetable peeler or a chef's knife and then cut into quarters, slices, or cubes. They're often baked, boiled, and then pureed or sliced and sauteed. Rutabagas are especially flavorful when seasoned with caraway seeds, dill, or lemon juice. Choose small to medium-sized rutabagas that are smooth and firm and feel heavy for their size. Also a root vegetable from the cabbage family, turnips have white skin with rosy red or purple blue blush and a white interior. Their flavor is similar to that of a radish, and it can be rather hot. Turnips can be peeled, then diced, sliced, or julienne for cooking. They may be baked or cooked with moist heat cooking methods and are often pureed like potatoes. Choose small to medium-sized turnips that have smooth skin and feel heavy. They should be firm, not rubbery or limp. Any attached leaves should be bright green and tender. Water chestnuts are the tuber of an Asian plant that thrives in water. The brownish black skin is peeled away to reveal a moist, crisp white interior, which can be eaten raw or cooked. When cooked, water chestnuts retain their crunchy texture, making them a popular addition to stir-fried dishes. They are also used in salads and casseroles or wrapped in bacon for hors d'oeuvres. Artichokes are the immature flowers of the thistle plant, introduced to America by Italian and Spanish settlers. Young tender artichokes can be cooked whole, but more mature plants need to have the fuzzy centers, known as chokes, removed first. Whole artichokes can be simmered, steamed, or microwaved. They're often served with lemon juice, garlic butter, or hollandaise sauce. The heart may be cooked separately, then served in salads, pureed as a filling, or served as a side dish. Place raw trimmed artichokes in acidulated water to prevent browning. Choose fresh artichokes with tight, compact heads that feel heavy. Their color should be solid green to gray-green. Brown sprouts on the surface caused by frost are harmless, and it's just a cosmetic effect. Artichoke hearts and leafless artichoke bottoms are both available canned. Asparagus, a member of the lily family, has bright green spears with a ruffle of tiny leaves at the tip. Larger spears tend to be tough and woody, but can be used in soup or for purees. Asparagus is eaten raw or steamed briefly, stir-fried, microwaved, grilled, or roasted. Fresh spring asparagus is excellent with nothing more than lemon juice or clarified butter. Asparagus with hollandaise sauce is a classic preparation. Choose firm, plump spears with tightly closed tips and a bright green color running the full length of the spear. Asparagus should be stored refrigerated at 40 degrees Fahrenheit, upright in about a half an inch of water, or with the ends wrapped in moist paper towels. The stalks should not be washed until just before use. A European variety of white asparagus is sometimes available fresh or readily available canned. White asparagus has a milder flavor and soft texture, tender in its nature. It's produced by covering the asparagus stalk with soil as it grows, then prevents sunlight from reaching the plant, and it retards the development of chlorophyll, the green color that naturally occurs in plants when they produce. Stripped of their tough brown outer shells, the tender young shoots of certain varieties of bamboo are edible. Bamboo shoots make excellent additions to stir-fry dishes, or they can be served like asparagus. Although fresh shoots are available in Asia, canned peeled shoots packed in brine or water are more common in the United States. Canned shoots should be rinsed well before use. Once a medicinal herb, stalk celery is now a common sight in kitchens worldwide. Stalk celery is pale green and stringy curved stalks, often eaten raw in salads or as a snack. Celery can be braised or steamed as a side dish. Celery is also an important component in mirepoix. Choose stalks that are crisp without any signs of dryness. Fennel is a Mediterranean favorite used for thousands of years as a vegetable, an herb, and a spice. The fennel bulb, often incorrectly referred to as sweet anise, has short, tight, overlapping celery-like stalks that have feathery leaves. The flavor is similar to that of anise or licorice, becoming milder when it's cooked. Fennel bulbs may be eaten raw or grilled, steamed, sautéed, baked, or microwaved. Choose a fairly large bulb, bright in color, on which the cut edges appear fresh, without dryness or browning. The bulb should be compact and not spreading. No, silly, not that kind of baby vegetables. Baby vegetables are either the diminutive form of the normal vegetable, halted during its growing process, or in some cases can actually be different species of vegetables, including such as the patty pan squashes pictured in the picture below. These are often used as garnishes or in functions where you want to serve them whole on the plate or just cut in half and roasted, and a very simple presentation to be able to leave the whole things on there. Most vegetables consist of more than 80% water. The remaining portion consists of mostly carbohydrates, a small amount of proteins, and fat. Most vegetables are extremely low in fat and calories. Most of the structure is indigestible dietary fiber such as cellulose and lignin. Vegetables are a good source of a wide array of vitamins and minerals. When purchasing fresh vegetables, vegetables are sold by the weight or the count. They're packed in things such as lugs, bushels, flats, and crates. Some common vegetables can be purchased in pre-processed also, trimmed, cleaned, cut to specification. Irradiation processes use ionized radiation to sterilize food. This is to inhibit the growth of sprouting, such as on onions and potatoes and ginger and garlic, or to quarantine such fruits so when they come into the United States they have to go through a path of quarantine. The insect de-infestation on cereal, pulses, and dried fruits, and shelf life extension on chicken and meat and fish, and pathogen reduction on spices and fresh foods. It destroys bacteria, parasites, and insects. It does not affect the taste or the texture of the food. When you receive fresh vegetables, oftentimes you'll need to wash them. Surface contaminants from soil, water, and handling can spread foodborne illnesses or viruses. Proper washing of vegetables is essential. Remove tags and ties. Do not soak. Wash vegetables uncut under cold running water, slightly warmer than the produce itself. And refrigerate it promptly. For canned vegetables, raw vegetables are cleaned and placed in sealed containers and then subjected to a high heat treatment. Grading of canned vegetables include U.S. Grade A or Fancy, U.S. Grade B or Extra Select, U.S. Grade C or Standard. Canned vegetables are purchased in cases of standard can sizes, such as the small cans that you might see at the grocery store, all the way to the number 10 cans, which you'll use in the restaurant industry often. Frozen vegetables are almost as convenient as canned. Freezing severely inhibits the growth of microorganisms that can cause spoilage. Grading of frozen vegetables is the same as canned. One of the added benefits of frozen vegetables is it locks into the freshness. IQF, or individually quick frozen method, is commonly used. Just as an aside, this method was developed by a man named Birdseye. Dried vegetables dramatically alter the flavor, texture, and appearance of the vegetables. The loss of the moisture when drying concentrates the flavors and sugars in the plant. Drying greatly extends the shelf life of these vegetables. So you may see these in soup mixtures or things that have to get rehydrated, and generally they're going to be rehydrated as part of the cooking process itself. The acid or alkali content of the cooking liquid affects the texture and color of vegetables. Vegetables such as asparagus, broccoli, green beans, and red cabbage may discolor. In the presence of acidic things such as maybe lemon juice, green beans will turn darker, paler, not very pleasant look. But a little bit of alkali, such as baking soda, may actually brighten up the greens. The opposite effect is had when you apply these to the cauliflower in the picture. And then whether you add acid or alkali to purple cabbage, well, you can see the results there. These reactions of greater concern when using moist heat cooking methods in particular. So finally, let's summarize and discuss some of our takeaways from this module. Vegetables are a powerhouse of vitamins and minerals and other nutrients. Typically, the brighter the color of the vegetable, the more nutritious it is. Not all vegetables should be peeled. In fact, very few vegetables should be peeled, as that's where most of the nutrients live. If you can clean a peel and use it, you should do so. Know your vegetables. Not every vegetable responds well to refrigeration or being left out at room temperature. Leave the picking of wild mushrooms to the professional foragers. I can't emphasize this enough. This can be a very dangerous and deadly situation. They are specifically trained to know the difference between edible mushrooms and the poisonous mushrooms, which oftentimes look a lot alike. Vegetables add value to a plate, they complement the mains on the plate, and they can even be the mains themselves. Vegetarian food is a fast-growing populace of the segment of culinary arts and should never be overlooked.